We might have to do it this way. Forgive me if you're just joining in, or if there's no one in here at all. It's even better. Delete that one. And we'll kind of put this one dead center, kind of. You can still see everything, though. That's all right. That's all right, maybe. Maybe that's all right. We'll see how we're going to do this here. Because it'd be nice to use my phone to look at comments. It would be nice for everyone. Forgive me as I get my situation loaded up here. Try to get everything rocking and rolling. Let's do this. So you're not looking at just fucking nothing here. Oh yeah, there's 4 of you in here. Oh yeah, forgive me. I'm really trying to get this rocking and rolling. Okay, forgive me. The background probably not the greatest. We'll work with it. We will work with it. Hi. Hello. There, now I can see the chat. That's great. Hold on, give me 1 second. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about a lot of things. It's too bad I can't make this bigger here. There we go. Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with some gas. You know what I'm saying? Welcome in, guys. I hope you are having a fantastic Sunday evening. We're going to be rocking and rolling here about tomorrow's severe weather threat. We have an enhanced risk over central Minnesota stretching into north central Wisconsin. We've got a couple tornadoes that could happen, some very large hail up to baseball, maybe even softball size. I won't go that big, but baseball size hail, and then damaging wind gusts. So this is the Storm Prediction Center. They always issue their day 1, day 2, and day 3 outlooks. So if you ever see anything beyond a day 3, it's a pretty significant day they're looking at. If you ever see a day 6, a day 4, a day 5, it's a pretty substantial threat there. Central Wisconsin. Hey, hi, welcome. I hope you're having a great evening. It's supposed kind of humid over there in central Wisconsin. Humid here. We're just on the dry line, as you could say. But I suppose you guys are all interested in the juice, what is actually going to happen tomorrow. So we'll get right into it. All right, we'll jump right into it. We want to give you guys a good start off here. Let's just do noon. Let's do noon, 1 o'clock tomorrow. All right. So by Monday, midday tomorrow. Right? We already got dew points cranking in from the southeast. You see here all these wind barbs down here along the I-90 corridor cranking from the southeast. So as soon as you see those winds change, these wind barbs up here are coming from the east. I hope you guys can see that, all right? That is the warm front. Whenever the winds change, they go directly to the east, and just below it is the south or southeasterly winds. That is classified as the warm front. So as you can see here, the center of the low pressure system is located somewhere over the Nebraska-South Dakota border. So, and then this warm front just stretches all the way across Minnesota and Wisconsin. And that is why there's that tornado threat for tomorrow. So as you go ahead into the late afternoon hours tomorrow, this is around the 2 or 3 p.m. time frame, 65 dew points all the way across southern Minnesota, stretching all the way out to central and southern Wisconsin, 65, almost 70 dew points down in central Iowa near Des Moines. That is absolutely nuts. So just a little educational tip for you. If you guys do not know, you need at least 55-degree dew points to have some thunderstorm development, some initiation, some severe weather, at least 55-degree dew points. So when you have dew points getting into the 60s, mid 60s, even in the obviously upper 60s down here in Iowa this time of year, this early, quote unquote. It creates a lot of instability. There's a lot of cooler air up north still, a lot of snowpack, so a lot of that still hinders with the low pressure system. So you definitely have to keep an eye out on this whole stretch here. So I hope you guys can still hear me. I hope everything's great. I hope the stream is great. Let me know if it's garbage, if you can hear me okay, if I'm talking all right, if my audio is great, if the visual is great. If it looks like shit, please let me know, and we'll fix it. We'll talk about it all. If you got questions about your specific area, don't be afraid to ask. We'll deep dive into everything. So yeah, by 2-3 o'clock tomorrow, as you see those upper dew points just creeping, and we'll just obviously keep moving ahead here by that 4 or 5 o'clock. As you can see, that warm front just pushes off to the north. See that southeasterly winds, and as soon as those winds crank to the east, or in this case northeast, easterlies, that warm front is associated right there along almost like the highway 212 corridor, going into the cities, and then stretching into the north central part of Wisconsin. But as you can see, these dew points are reaching just a little bit more northward of the warm front per se. As you can see down here, these winds are the southeast, go up a little bit, and they switch to the east. So hypothetically, that warm front is somewhere in here. So we will take an atmospheric sounding. Oh, that's great. Thanks, Job. Appreciate it. Pretty sure I pronounced your name the correct way, but look at that tornado. So I won't get you guys too confused, because this is a lot to really break down for you. But just focus where my mouse is right here. Probable hazard type tornado, and then we will, I guess you can focus on this over here too. Down here is the surface. This whole square right here is a very good depiction, a picture of the atmosphere from the surface all the way to the upper parts of the atmosphere. So down here is the surface. At the surface we have 68 degrees temperature, and then 65 for dew points, guys, and that is pretty significant for tornadoes. This LCL right here, which is this green line, that is the cloud base. You look up in the sky and you're like, whoa, those clouds are pretty close to the ground. That means the temperature and the dew points are very, very close. The temperature, once the temp and the humidity are the same, the clouds condense. So that's why really low LCLs is really great for tornado days. It doesn't take as much energy to take that funnel and touch the ground. So, but anyways, tornado, a really good environment for tornadoes tomorrow, especially this large, very large hail. I do want to just go jump ahead a little bit. I know HRRR is firing a supercell out here in the Redwood Falls, just west of there. I forget what other towns are there. Big Stone, I know that Big Stone's out here a little bit more. But we'll click a sounding right here near the warm front triple point. As you can see, 3,000 Cape, which is insane for second week of April in Minnesota. It's not uncommon for like Iowa, but Minnesota to have 3,000 Cape. You need at least 1,500 to produce a pretty good thunderstorm. So 3,000 Cape, that is significant. 70 dew point by 6 p.m. That is absolutely insane. 5,000 Cape. Oh my goodness. That is a lot of Cape, guys. 5,000 Cape is significant. That is a lot of juice for the atmosphere. So for you, Joe, out in Wisconsin, as you can see here, 65s at the surface, 67 for temperature, and still looks to be a pretty good hodograph here. This is what this is called, skew T-plot, hodograph, some people call it. I suppose this is the skew T-plot, and this is the hodograph. But anyways, tornado, a lot of curvature in the atmosphere, guys. So I would really look out. We'll go to the composite reflectivity. This is for 6 p.m. So as you can see, just along the warm front, this is initiating. Well, actually, we'll jump in here real quick to old Minnesota. Oh yeah, look at that. I'll give you guys a way better. Hopefully you can see it on there. A way better depiction. I just waiting to make sure this image is right and you can see me just fine. I know my background looks absolutely horrible. Horrendous. Let's see here. But yes, right along the warm front around 6 p.m. Look at that. Warm front, 6 p.m. We'll actually jump it back. But I'm going to see when these supercells actually fire here. So 4 p.m., nothing. Maybe some, spotted little rain showers down here along the Highway 14 corridor. And then I'm sure as soon as you hit 5 o'clock, magic hour, as they say it. Come on. Look at that. Little itty bitty supercell here. A little bitty supercell right on the cities. Man, that'd probably be a significant hailer there, dropping up to 3-inch hail. That would be a crazy storm in the cities at 5 p.m. That would do a lot of detriment. So just depending where the warm front sets up, guys. It really will depend. It's just like the snowstorms we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Wherever that warm front sets up will really determine who gets what. Like right now, this warm front is just sagging along the Highway 212 corridor, streaming into the cities. But if this were to go north, 40, 50 miles, then, obviously Meeker County, Candy, Ojai, what is this? Wright County. That's right, Wright County. Wright County be in it. So even if this sags to the south, guys, some supercells could be over Mankato, the Highway 14 corridor. So this is a very fine line for wherever these storms decide to initiate. That would probably be, it'll be very interesting how this goes. But we'll jump to 7 p.m. because we looked at 6 o'clock already, right? And if it's hurrying up and loads, sometimes you can tell when everyone and their mother is using this thing because it takes forever to load. Look at that. 7 p.m. you have a single cellular supercell, a little bit of another little mini one over here, and then this big glob. Then you have just a single supercell over here, single cellular supercell. It's kind of a tongue twister there. Over here near Brookings and the South Dakota, Minnesota border. I want to take a sounding for that, if that's near the triple point. Come on. Holy smokes, man. Let's go. Oh, that's definitely near the triple point. Yep, tornado. So as that low pressure system kicks through, guys, look at that. Just kicking out a mean supercell right at sunset. That is absolutely nuts. 9 p.m. and it's tracking right for Mankato. I want to jump ahead. Look at that. That's by 11. So we'll put this at 10 p.m. That supercell's just entering Mankato. So it just depends where the warm front is, where the dew points are, which we'll look at. Mankato, look at that. So the winds are kind of not in the favor. It's definitely near the triple point. There could be, I guess, a tornado threat at 10 p.m. in Mankato tomorrow night if that supercell were to make it all the way. We're really to think just some hail, some really big hail with that one, but it tracks all the way from Brookings. That is absolutely a monster cell. But look at that complex out there in Wisconsin. Now that's a system right there. Tornado. So anything embedded in this line trying to reach out into this warmer massed air has a chance of producing a tornado. That is absolutely nuts. This is all connected, guys. Just think about it. On this side is cooler, dry air, and then on this front side, the back side, front side, however you want to call it, is the warm, moist air. So wicked shelf cloud. I bet there'll be a lot of lightning tomorrow night. That'd be one hell of a show to sit outside and look at that. That'd be pretty good there. Look at that tornado. That one heck of a warm sector for that updraft, for the inflow. Pretty dominant. Just want to take a look. 11 p.m. This sucker just tracks right along just north of I-90 and south of Highway 14. So that's 11 p.m. and midnight. That's it. That's it. Wisconsin gets slammed. We might see a supercell or two here in central Minnesota. The environment is definitely there, guys. I'm telling you. If something were to form even earlier in the warm sector instead of on the warm front, we'll take a sounding down here by Albert Lee. So if you look at my mouse right here, how the skew T-plot works is how the further you go up in the atmosphere, the cooler it gets, right? Drier, cooler, all that warm air sits down, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So as you go up in the atmosphere, generally speaking, it always gets cooler. But in some instances, we have obviously different elevations and different winds and all sorts of stuff. When we get the warm temperatures cruising off the Rockies and from the Nebraska plains, we really have this warm pocket of air a few thousand feet up, really hindering storm development. We call that the capping inversion. So tomorrow's big thing is the capping inversion. So if the cap can break early enough, we can see a lot more tornadic activity, but time will tell. We'll see with these newer models. By the way, my name is Joe Beth. It's all good. Thank you for that clarification. That makes me feel a lot better. Makes me feel a lot better. So yeah, I will, Joe Beth, let's see here. Central Wisconsin, we'll go over this again, okay? So let's see here. So by 5 p.m., just a little bit of some reflectivity, some storm initiation along that warm front. And then as we get into 6 p.m., those storms start to fire just northeast of Eau Claire and along that warm front. But as that low pressure system comes in, they'll start to kind of shift east and then southeast. So as that warm front kind of pushes off, and then all of a sudden it kind of stalls, and that low pressure system starts to wrap and move out. So that's why you kind of get that oriented northeast motion, and then all of a sudden it kind of just like fizzles out, and then bam, kind of off to the southeast east. So that's pretty much how that kind of rolls. Now this is the HRRR. There's a newer model run coming out in about an hour. So and the time being, we're going to look at the NAM 3 kilometer, which is pretty good at this as well. It just doesn't do as good as a reflectivity as the HRRR. So as Monday morning, look at this, noon, 1 p.m., this is really going to prohibit storm initiation. And usually you have a rain showers in the morning, kind of like this at 9 a.m., and then it's supposed to clear out and get sunny to destabilize the atmosphere. So even by 4 p.m., this still shows some storm initiation near that McLeod County, Redwood Falls area. And then, yeah, look at that, 5 p.m., pretty good complex of storms firing up near the Gaylord area, near the Winthrop. And look at that, own mean complex by 6 o'clock, hitting the cities between 6 and 7. So not as much storms on the NAM 3 kilometer over here in Wisconsin as early, but the cities does look to get wrecked. But look at that, 9, 10 o'clock, look at that. Here comes the storms in Wisconsin. So nothing too much. Like I said, that warm front is really going to depict a lot of things. Still have that super single cellular development out there a little later. Look at that, right around 10 instead of 7 o'clock. So we'll just see where this one shows. Let's look at some dew points here. This is the NAM, and the NAM, look at that. Really shows that storm feeding into it. So as you can see here, these winds are coming out of the southeast, cranking, and then all of a sudden, look at this. The direct flip to the east, that is that warm front. So you can basically follow, the difference in the moisture and the humidity, and that is pretty much the warm front. So as you can see out here, easterlies, and then as you can get up a little bit more, all of a sudden the winds change. So that warm front is right here, and the dew points aren't as tight to that warm front. So maybe that will, prohibit storm initiation out there too. We'll take a gander, take a look at that atmospheric sounding. Still got the curvature of the atmosphere, pretty strong atmospheric winds, a lot of rotation. Like I said, some pretty good hailers. Yep, that dew point is really hindering. 59 over 68, that's a 9-degree temperature spread. So like I said, the closer the better for tornadic activity. I bet there'll be some pretty darn good hailers tomorrow. Really good hail. So that is for the NAM 3 kilometer. That moisture, I guess we can kind of talk about tonight. There's a little bit of tornado threat up in Duluth. There's enough moisture up there this afternoon in the winds. It did initiate a storm, but I did not see any tornadic activity. But look how sharp that line is. That is insane. 64 dew point. I drive out to New Ulm or Redwood Falls, and all of a sudden, bam, that cool, dry air. That's how crazy Minnesota is. I guess the upper Midwest, not specifically Minnesota, but the upper Midwest. That cool, dry air. And then, like I said, as we get into the afternoon tomorrow, we get that humidity and those temperatures coming back once again. We'll jump to the RRFS model, Ron, which is the AI model, guys. I don't, you know how we all feel about AI. So this shows by 5 p.m. Oh, the dew points into the middle 60s and a heck of a warm front sector across central Minnesota into north central Wisconsin. So let's just keep going. Look at that. You can see this dew points again just eaten up by these storms. So I bet if we go look at composite reflectivity, which is the radar, basically just the future radar, I bet there's a lot of storms. So right here is the triple point. The triple point is the low pressure system itself, is when all of the winds switch. So southeasterlies, easterlies, you have the north winds right here, and then they all wrap around. This is one big little suction vortice, so to speak. Low pressure system, whatever. And then that warm front drapes out, like I said, across Minnesota and Wisconsin, and then you have that dry line, that cold front, just off to the south that drapes all the way through Iowa and Missouri. So we will take a atmospheric sounding right here over by, again, that Redwood Falls area, and tornado. If you guys can see that, probable hazard tornado. So still cranking out. There's still a lot of rotation in the atmosphere, guys. So a lot of hail, a lot of tornadoes, tornado potential. We'll look at the composite reflectivity according to this RRFS model. So as you can see here, we are just rolling into tomorrow morning. By noon tomorrow, guys, some showers, some spotty showers off to the north. And as you remember, that warm front is kind of just dragged right here across Minnesota and Wisconsin. So as we get towards the afternoon hours, look at that, 4 p.m., that complex of storms fires up near that Redwood Falls area and absolutely begins to crank into huge supercells according to this AI model. So look at that. That's huge, huge hailers, guys. If they can stay semi-discrete, they will have more of a tornado threat. But if they are all in this linear mode and they're all kind of smushed together, that will be a less of a tornado threat, more of that damaging wind and hail. But look how big these storms are. There's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of CAPE in the atmosphere tomorrow, guys. This is going to be nuts. So I just want to see how much CAPE is actually in the atmosphere. Holy smokes. That's a lot. That's a lot of juice. 3,400 CAPE, 3,200. So, upwards of 2,000 to 3,000 CAPE. And for those of you who do not know, you need at least 1,500 joules per kilogram of CAPE to produce a general thunderstorm, some lightning. So when you have these high numbers of 2,500 to 3,300 joules per kilogram of CAPE, that is a very volatile atmosphere. So we'll be very due diligent. Keep your heads on a swivel as we get into the afternoon hours tomorrow. So again, we'll look at the future radar according to this AI model, and as we get into the late to early, I guess we should say late afternoon to early evening hours by 4 or 5 o'clock hour, guys. Look at that. Absolutely hammering. Jesse, how are you? How are you? I was going to answer the question I just asked. I'm doing okay, man. How are you? We're just forecasting models, Jesse. We're doing great. I'm doing wonderful. I answered my own question yet again. Whatever. I don't want to talk about it. Anyways, we'll jump back out instead of doing this zoomed in version. Well, I want to look at the NAM. The NAM also does convective allowing models. So as you can see here by that 4 or 5 o'clock hour, that warm front is still draped across that Minnesota corridor over that, it's over that Redwood Falls area, still almost towards that Shakopee area, just north of the cities, and then draping over that Baldwin, all the way over to Milwaukee. So wherever this warm front sets up tomorrow, guys, will really be critical. It'll be the limiting factor or the increasing factor. I don't know. My vocabulary's not there, I guess. I need to read a dictionary more. But anyways, winds coming from the southeast, guys, and then you have these direct wind change right here. These wind barbs changing to the east. That is where that warm front is accompanied. So basically, you can just follow the difference in the dew points, the color gradient, and that is essentially the warm front. Hypothetically, I mean, right here is the warm front. There's not as much not as much humidity reaching up to the warm front here to the NAM. This is the second model that is showing that, so not as much humidity reaching the warm front sector here in Wisconsin. So that will probably be a limiting factor in Wisconsin. So really big. My biggest concern, seriously, tomorrow is the warm front triple point area. If that really hunkers down in Minnesota, that's where the most forcing is, especially when there's a capping inversion. There's a strong enough capping inversion, and that is the huge limiting factor. You want to go back to your basics, where the most forcing is in the low pressure system. So the number one key thing is dew points for storms, a lifting mechanism, and that lifting mechanism is the low pressure system triple point, which is the low pressure system itself. The center where all the winds wrap around, that's the triple point. You can chase that. That initiates some storms. And then you have the warm front, which is another lifting mechanism. You have this warm, very moist air off to the south. And then as you just go off to the north, even that 10-degree difference in humidity makes an extremely volatile atmosphere when it comes to these setups. So it makes a lot of juice, a lot of lightning. I bet tomorrow will happen. It'll be doing great. By the way, if you guys have any questions about your area specifically, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid. I can zoom in. We'll do all sorts of stuff. Heading to Eau Claire, Wisconsin tomorrow afternoon. Should be into Joe. Man, this guy will be out storm chasing. I gotta work. I'm so mad. Well, good luck to you, Joe. Drive safe. Seriously, it can be very interesting. Hopefully they stay off to the north. I guess I don't need too many details about you, but if you're spending the night, you could get a pretty good storm, Joe. Actually, we'll jump over. I'll show you what the AI model is showing here for future radar. But as you get into, look at that. One heck of a storm complex. This is 8 p.m., reaching just north of Mankato, stretching all the way to the northwest, north central part of Wisconsin. So then as that line will move off, that's around midnight, 1 a.m. So that complex of storms will be moving. We'll be cooking from Minnesota to Wisconsin. So, and then we have Iowa set up on Tuesday. Look at that. Bam! Supercell galore in Wisconsin yet again. That's absolutely insane. So another complex of storms on Tuesday. That looks to stay a little bit more south. The dew points, obviously, they go off to the south after you have a big day. You have usually 1 or 2 big days. Like obviously today, there's a little bit more humidity, than yesterday. And then, tomorrow is usually, typically the kicker. And then obviously after them storms fire, you rebound to the, off to the south. So that's why you have a little bit, sharper. Look at the triple points right there again. So I'd watch that area on Tuesday. But it looks to be very interesting. No Ruffus. I was going to be chasing this event. See, that's what I'm saying, Jesse. I was going to chase tomorrow too, but some people got to fucking work. Some bullshit. Sorry for swearing. Probably get me banned on here. Oh, Wisconsin Rapids. Nice. Wisconsin Dells. No, it's for work. Yeah, it sucks. Well, hey, Joe, maybe the storms will come right to you. Wisconsin Rapids. Okay, that's where you're at. So, like, right along here. All right, we'll jump back to Monday. Oh, and really narrow me down there. Because, I could just put an atmospheric sounding. Wisconsin Dells is, like, right about here. We'll give you a little good picture of your area. So, again, at the surface, you have 64-degree dew points, 72-degree temperatures, and then as you open the atmosphere, it gets a little bit warmer, creating that capping inversion. But as you can see, this dashed line is that air parcel. So just view it as a cloud, right? A cloud for a thunderstorm, right? I am that little dashed line. I can keep climbing. I can just sneak my way past this temperature gradient and then just absolutely rock into the atmosphere. So that looks to show the cap breaks, and that's around that 6 p.m. time frame. But again, it's really a shot in the dark here. we'll look at some significant tornado parameters, because why not? Let's see here. We'll roll into the afternoon. So this is around that 4 or 5 p.m. for tomorrow. So as you can see, not as strong as the tornado threat here. That's the Owatonna area. And then off here down towards, I was going to say Wisconsin, Iowa. Ugh. Near that Atlantic City area. We'll take a sounding there. I just want to see why that's so much more of a prevalent tornado threat. Yeah, see, it's garbage down there. There's a lot of Cape, guys. 4,700 Cape. For review, just joining in real quick, you need at least 1,500 Cape for a good thunderstorm. So when you see these 3, 4, 5,000 numbers, that is a very robust, a very violent updraft. But I don't think there's enough shear in the atmosphere to create such updrafts. Let's go look here near that Owatonna area on I-35. PDS tornado. So shear, surface to the 1 kilometer 23. Yeah. It'll be very interesting to see if there's enough shear to get updrafts going. Definitely enough, I guess surface to 3 kilometers, enough shear to get them updrafts going. PDS tornado, if you guys can see that, probable hazard type right here where my mouse is. This sounding right here shows a PDS tor near that Atlantic City, Iowa area around that 3 or 4 time frame, 3 or 4 p.m. tomorrow. And we'll just keep going. Look at that. That just keeps advancing off to the northeast. That's a 4.0. You guys are like, 4.0, dude? Are you shitting me, man? That ain't nothing. Well, when the scale is 1 to 10, it's actually quite a bit significant. So there's enough. There might be a little bit more shear there as it gets later into the evening. But as you can see, I'm kind of missing out on the whole point here of the cities. Right here, 3.2, just outside the Twin Cities. Look at that. Oh, this one might be a real dinger there. PDS tor again. Shear vector, surface to the 1 kilometer 33. That's a lot better. Efficient inflow 43 knots. That's looking a lot better. So that looks a lot better. That's the NAM 3 kilometers. So by that 6 p.m. time frame, I wouldn't doubt why the Twin Cities, all the way off to that Redwood Falls area, basically that Renville County. I'd definitely keep an eye out for all of that. It's going to be nuts. That sounding's contaminated. Yeah, I know. I don't want to talk about it. I know it's contaminated. That's all right, though. It's still showing the environment. Still pretty prime, though. Still, I mean, yeah, still, it'll be interesting if there's enough shear in the atmosphere. Let's see here. Let's look at. Let's put this at 6 p.m. Let's look at the shear vector, bulk shear. Oh, I clicked down the wrong one. All right, 0 to 6 kilometer. And we're going to compare some models. So HRRR shows a nice little 35. You need at least 35 knots of shear to support supercellular development. So that's why a lot of people really look at the shear vectors, because if you don't have 35 knots, well, yeah. So that's one of another things too. Lifting mechanism, instability. There's a lot of it. I don't want to confuse you at all. Humidity, lift, we'll just keep it basic. But basically, at least 35 knots. So as you can see, just barely meeting that criteria. There might be a little bit more down here, 38. But then as you can see here, this little influx, 43 knots of shear. So that's towards that Rochester, towards that Wisconsin border. So a little bit more shear in the atmosphere over in Wisconsin. Look at that. We'll kick out here, 40 knots of shear. Bam! Yeah, it looks way better. Surface to 1 kilometer. I don't like that. It's only 23 knots. There ain't a lot there, but definitely enough lift in the atmosphere to create some storm development. Look, it's a nice little prefrontal shear vector here. 45 knots. That's not terrible. It ain't bad. I mean, it ain't good. Like, look at this. Out in front of ahead of the front, I should say. 19, 20 knots. That ain't nothing. And then the HRW, which is another little model that likes to be due diligent sometimes. 47 knots. Not terrible. It's not great, guys. It's definitely not like an outbreak scenario like I was kind of seeing earlier. You're probably like, dude, that was never an outbreak fucking scenario. Well, I was there for a little bit there this morning there, pal. Yeah, fuck, I'm telling you, it's all right. That's why everything comes with time. I believe everything. The Lord, it's Lord's time, Jesus' time. So I'll just wait for the next storm setup, which looks to be on Friday. So that looks to be very interesting. But I guess we'll get right back to the single image. We'll jump over to the HRRR. We'll look at the significant tornado parameters. So this is for, look at that, 7 p.m. A 5.3, which is absolutely nuts. 32 knots of shear, 46, 36. That looks pretty good. Not bad, not terrible. Not bad. 68 over 71. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not terrible. Forgive me if you can hear my kitty. He just came in to say what's up. But still, for the HRRR, a jeez, tongue twister. It's just a single supercell developing over here near the triple point, near Brookings, that South Dakota-Minnesota border. And then as you can see, this vast complex of storms firing along that warm front sector. So if any of these supercells can stay rooted, stay on the warmer side of the warm front, that will really pose a more of a tornado threat. But if these stay on the cooler side, that will be more of that wind and hail event. So again, for those of you joining, don't be afraid to ask any questions. What's this out here? Oh, nothing. Nothing. I always like looking at, little stuff like that. Like, oh, what's that out there? What's cooking, boss? Well, look at that. Rolling in from South Dakota, that's a nice little supercell there. So definitely some hailers, a really good complex of storms cooking out there in Wisconsin. That looks mighty fine. I like that. I like that. I'm sure a lot of you want to hear what I would do if I was storm chasing tomorrow. So I guess we will look at this. If capping is the biggest concern tomorrow, which obviously it is, I would probably play the triple point, wherever that would be. PDS tour. I honestly, it would depend the next 12 hours. Like I would stay up all night tonight, like I plan on doing, and then I would make the decision at 2 a.m. Technically 2:45 a.m. after the HRRR run comes out. I would make my decision then, just depending. As this, like right here, HRRR I could set up right here south of Mankato, which would be what is that? Forgive me. I know Albert Lee's over here. Albert Lee's right here. Mapleton, yeah, it's no, whatever. Anyways, we're not going to play fucking geological testing here. But anyways, 68 over 73, 22, fucking shear. Still 4,000 cape though. So definitely enough juice. Those shear vectors, man, really would mess with me. Would really mess with me. If you do their temp, and then you do the winds, as you can see that temperature, right? Temperature gradient. This is at 6 p.m. So 71. Then you got this really, really hot air. Hot and dry air, guys. Now that will not suffice any type of storms when you have the cooler, moist air. Kind of contradicting, huh? Because it's also warm, but not as hot. Dry heat. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Dry heat and a wet heat. Wet heat's over here. That's what really makes those thunderstorms pop. So when everything comes wrapping around this low pressure system, it all comes congealing together. You really get a lot of storm complexes. So it'll be very interesting how the next 12, 18 hours really pans out. Really next 18 hours, to be honest with you. I will look at the wrap because the wrap's also very good at this. So we'll see what the warm front sets up at. Let's see here. It's around that 4 p.m. time frame. Yeah, not as much. I mean, there's rotation in the atmosphere, but not nearly. Yeah, that 0 to 1 kilometers junk. That's also very early, though. Here's 6 p.m. I guess I was off with that 4 p.m. It was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. There's 66 dew points. They're a little bit better. Yeah, there ain't nothing for shear, according to the wrap. That is absolutely garbage, dude. That is bad, actually. That is horrible. I definitely see why they have that 5% tornado threat near the Eau Claire, Wisconsin. There's a little bit more shear. Not a lot. Look at that, 71 for a dew point down there. That is absolutely insane. 74 over 69, 4200 cape. That capping inversion still in place, sort of. Hopefully that sun would erode it. So let's follow the low pressure. Let's see what it says back here. And that triple point. Yeah, a little bit better shear vectors. It's still a weak shear, I should say, but from 0 to 1 and then 0 to 2, there's continuous change in the sectors, thankfully. That'll be great. So yeah, according to this, this still hunkers that warm front even a little bit more south. That's at 7 p.m. So it just depends. I'm really thinking from Hutch all the way down to obviously I-90. That's a pretty big stretch, but from there to there, I would say that's a pretty good chunk to see a tornado tomorrow. Again, pretty good, significant hailers too. So, but look at that. Dry, cooler, drier, punching in on this backside. So yeah, anywhere, that triple point is gonna probably do some numbers tomorrow. We got tornado, so just ahead of that triple point, guys. I guess it's kind of, what do you call this? The triple point back here. That's a mighty fine question for myself. It's kind of, I guess I would call this the triple point back here. I mean, this is the low pressure. So it's kind of a messy low pressure system. How about that? We'll make it, yeah, definitely a low pressure system. A triple point right on the Minnesota-Iowa border. So I would look at that. That could do something. So you got to pay attention to the triple point, the warm front, wherever all that stuff comes together. Look at 4.0 for the wrap. Holy smokes. Shear 30, 43, 36. So, I mean, there's significant shear there. That's it's around 10 p.m. This is 11 p.m. It's still hanging out with all that moisture, all that energy. So I would definitely be a pretty good night to watch some storms tomorrow. That's for sure. Again, if you got any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Even if you want to learn something about dew points, warm fronts, if you're curious about what the hell I'm clicking on and looking at, don't be afraid to ask that either. So I want to look at this, how big this storm complex is. Dang, man. I was really hoping for a good lightning show down here in Mankato tomorrow night. I might have to look off to the north and look at some storms, I guess. Man, that's some bullshit. So that is pretty much my synoptic for tomorrow, guys. We're going to have to really hone in on that warm front. Let's see if this one will bring us out. See, this is at 15Z, which is about 9 a.m. 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Let's see where them dew points are at. Yeah, just off to the south. 60s, that warm front's right there. You can see, like I said, where the winds change. Let's look at the temperature variance. 64. And let's see what it looks like in Mankato. 62. So, I mean, not crazy, but, I mean, crazy enough, I guess, right? Something to cause some some turbulence. Let's look at, I want to look at it. If you guys ever curious, go to SPC comparison. Do not allow your location to be tracked. And let's look at what they say. So the highest, they have actually a 10% tornado threat for tomorrow. Just on the the Fritz of Rochester, as you can see, and then that black dot is literally just off. Where would that be? Oh, forgive me. Oh, I forget. I'm not good at geological. I go chasing all the time and I don't know where I'm at. That's funny. I know Wisconsin Dells is right here, right where my finger is. So just northeast of Wisconsin Dells. I chased over there last year. Anyways, looks like the main tornado threat, the more shear vectors, the more everything is over in the western part of Wisconsin. So we'll take be very interesting how it all unfolds. It'll be very, very interesting. So that is the tornado threat by the CSU. And then this is the tornado threat by the Climate Prediction Center. Hail, wind. So more of a hail and tornado threat than a wind event tomorrow. But again, it'll be very interesting how everything sets up. We'll look at this. This really doesn't say anything because this is for Illinois. I don't really care about Illinois. I do not. We care about Minnesota and Wisconsin. Wisconsin, cheese curland. That's what we care about, man. Cheese curds. We'll get right back to the models because that's where it's good at. And we'll jump right to... I'm just going to pull up my debit card thing again. Oh, you need to make your payment. Listen here, pal. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. If you guys got any comments, questions, or concerns, don't be afraid to shout them out here now before I vacate this live stream. It's pretty much a shot in the dark for tomorrow. It's depending where everything lines up. Wherever this warm front is accompanied with the moisture, wherever the triple point lines up, it will be very mighty fine, interesting. So we'll keep an eye out. We'll keep you guys updated. Don't be afraid to look me up on Instagram, Facebook, Verns Valley. We keep you guys updated. I do more of a normally spam Snapchat for weather updates. So if you need more of a sophisticated line of updated weather, don't be afraid to add me on Snapchat. You can find that on my Instagram bio. I get pretty wild on there sometimes. So it was pretty fun last month with all the snowstorms. I think we cracked almost 100,000 views in 28 days. So it was quite fun, 29 days. So we did pretty good. We'll continue to keep you guys updated. I wonder what the cloud cover looks like, because that'll be a really big thing. Cloud cover. Look at that. Cloud cover. Garbage. That'll be another big thing. Wherever the clouds break out tomorrow, that'll be another key indicator we're to chase. Wherever that daytime heating can really heat up the lower parts of the atmosphere, the surface, create that air partial to rise, break that cap, and create a supercell. So it'll be very interesting. Yeah, no problem, Joe Beth. Keep safe out there. Like I said, don't be surprised if something does happen in your neck of the woods, just in case that warm front drops to the south. I don't want you to be caught off guard by any means. So just keep your head on a swivel, just in case there's significant movement in that warm front. It'll be interesting. That's for sure. At least if you don't get hit right away, you probably will get hit in the overnight hours as that low pressure system sweeps through. Takes all that humidity and that warm air with it, and pretty much wraps up that storm complex. So again, don't be afraid to ask any questions. We'll throw up some interstates on here so you guys can see it. Pretty much intercepts. What is that out there? Oh, is that Wisconsin? That's not Wisconsin Devils out there, is it? Oh, I gotta look. Maybe when I get my new recording studio, I'm gonna put a big United States map on here so I can just. Oh, hey, look, that's what this is. Oh, that one out there. Yeah, that's gotta be. It's Toma. What am I doing here, man? Toma. I was out there then. Wisconsin Dells is right here. Bingo. Bingo was his name. Oh, I'm pretty sure I got that right. Wisconsin Dells. Madison's just off to the south right here. Perfect. That's great. That's wonderful. I got my cities right, guys. Yay! Clap for me. Yay! So anyways, that's pretty much wraps it up, guys. Anywhere that warm front is accompanied with the dew points, I'll be very diligent. I would seriously just keep your alert system on your phone. Yeah, I would just make sure you're ready to lock and load for tomorrow. Make sure you have a safe space. Make sure your attic. Why would you hide in your attic, Damien? Why would you? Make sure your crawl space is cleaned out. There's no cobwebs in there. When you go in there tomorrow afternoon, you're like, oh, why didn't I clean this out yesterday or today or whatever? You got to go back to work tomorrow. So, whatever, go in there right now. It takes 5 minutes. Sweep it out, blow it out, whatever you got to do. Mop it, clean it, wipe it down. Just throw a scent bomb in there. I don't care what you do. But make sure you're ready to go for tomorrow night. Could be very interesting. Have a good one. Hey, Joe. Thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah, send me some snaps tomorrow. I appreciate any updates. Stay safe tomorrow. Keep your head on a swivel. If there's a storm, basically, let me just put it this way. All right, I guess the dogs want me to be done with this recording. They just knocked over my recording light. So that's great. Anyways, if you see a storm tomorrow afternoon after 5 p.m., just be very due diligent. So, yeah, sorry for all that ruckus. That was basement, yes. Not an attic. Not an attic at all. Basement. crawl space, your neighbor's ditch, the culvert. In my case, I like just driving around in my car. I feel a lot safer that way, you know. I like to see where it's coming out, just be like, well, let it hit us. Fuck it, right? You know, I like to see it anyways. Stay safe out there tomorrow. It'll be very interesting. I bet I can just do this. I'll go back to OBS. I can click this. Oh no, I didn't update it. Hold on, give me one moment. Give me one moment. Oh, good gracious. Oh gracious. Where is this at? There we go. Hey, look, I'm back. Look at that. A little bit of a mix up there. You can see my background's usually the black, but yeah, I record with the MacBook camera, so that's all right. I had to. That's okay. Again, if you got any questions, comments, or concerns, look at that record high broken today in St. Cloud, 83 degrees. Holy smokes! Broke the record from 1931. That is absolutely wild. Almost a 100-year record. Isn't that insane? Almost 100 years. That is incredible. Welcome in. Appreciate it. We're kind of wrapping up this live here. So if you got any last-minute questions about tomorrow's severe weather threat, don't be afraid to shoot them before I let you go. Really be accompanied by the warm front tomorrow. Wherever that sets up right now, looks to be along the cities southward towards the I-90 corridor, all the way out to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, out to Milwaukee, southward into the Wisconsin-Illinois border a little bit in Iowa, wherever that. If it's moist, if it's muggy and hot out tomorrow, you have a pretty good chance of seeing a storm, or I should say your environment is pretty darn good at all that. So, again, I appreciate you guys staying. It really helps me out. We'll probably maybe go live tomorrow, depending. I work tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. I was maybe, contemplating my life tomorrow night. But anyways, we'll keep you guys updated. We will maybe do live tomorrow before I go to work, depending on storm initiation. But if you guys want to keep more updated, don't be afraid to follow my Facebook page, my Instagram page, YouTube. I'm starting to join TikTok a little bit more. Overcome my fear for some godforsaken reason. I don't know why I'm scared of TikTok. But yeah, you follow me anywhere, Verns Valley. I keep you guys updated as much as I can. I work swing shifts, so it's kind of hard sometimes. It's kind of a BITCH. But yeah, be very active tomorrow. 65 dew points, 80 degrees. It'll feel like July, feel like June a little bit. Change up from last week, right? Cold, wet, shitty out. This week's hot. I was sweating today when I took the dogs for a walk. I don't know about you. So, anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. Don't be afraid to reach out if you got any last-minute questions, any concerns about tomorrow. If you got any suggestions, I might change my live other than my background. That'll be changing in a couple months. Don't worry about that. It'll all be changing. So we'll see you here next time. Another live at Verns Valley's weather discussion. I want to keep you guys updated. Keep you guys not postponed, but, just keep you updated. So we'll see you guys here next time. Another live weather discussion at Verns Valley. You guys have a good rest of your